Alright, what's going on, guys? This week, into Q3, beginning of Q4, it was probably the worst week I've had on the account, but I did some things right, did some things wrong. Had no wins, but I had 3 break evens and 2 losses. On those losses, I made some mistakes that I could have, done things better, but that's what trading is, realizing your mistakes and trying to improve on them and improving on them. So, right now I'm in my car right now. Just got back from the gym, but I'll see you on the trade recap. All right, what's going on, guys? This is week 6 and the beginning of Q4, and also it was the end of Q3, so the beginning of the week. This was low-key probably not my worst week that I've had on the channel, but I mean, I did some good things, I did some bad things. I had no winning days this week, but I did have 3 break-even days, so I minimized my what could have been losses, and then I also made some mistakes and lost on those other days that were losses. So let's get into the trades. So Monday, I was initially bullish. I was thinking of trying to find bullish plays. Obviously, we had this gap that was never tapped into, so I really wanted to reach those levels. But during pre-market, I saw it was really good trading, and it was a good trade, and everything aligned really good. So we had this 15-minute inversion, so I was like, okay, I really want to see price at least go down to this level. Let me go down to a smaller time frame, see if we have any. I hate this right here. We have any freaking things we can take this trade off of. So obviously we have this 5 minute that we kept rejecting, so I was pretty confident in it. If you go down to a small time frame, we probably did have an inversion. I didn't check, but I was mostly confident because we had this 15-minute inversion, so I wasn't really needing an inversion on the 1 minute or 2 minute or any of that sorts. So as soon as I got into this trade, boom, got in. I broke even at this unfilled 5 minute. So originally I was like, man, we're dumping a lot. I'm really confident that we can just keep dumping to Asia lows or just something else. So honestly, I got greedy on this trade. I should have just stuck to my original plan. And honestly, it wasn't even a lot that I was risking. It was $60. I could have just made the stop a little bigger, made it at least risking $100 just to give it more room. Honestly, I could have doubled up on my contracts and just, for me on this trade, it was a mistake of I wasn't honestly making that much money at these lows. But honestly, that's very bad mentality. I can't be doing those types of, I can't have that thought process. It's not good. So that was that. That happened. So lesson learned. If I'm gonna take a pre-market play, I'm not gonna I wanna already have set levels in place. I wanna have, all right, I'm gonna enter off of this. We have an inversion. We have this. We have a SMT. We probably did have a SMT. But I'm not trying to go to the other time frames and show y'all. But yeah, it was unfortunate. Got stopped out for break even, and yeah, that was that. And then going into the second trade, we ended up, obviously we tapped into, we've been on this 1 hour, so we just kept pushing up. So we never tapped into this 1 hour, but it turns out I think on NQ we ended up tapping into it by barely. So, but this trade was still pretty solid. We tapped into this. At first, I wanted to take a 5 minute. The 5 minute didn't really present anything really solid, so I was just like, man, okay, let me see if this 15 minute gets tapped into. We haven't taken out these highs yet, or we haven't tapped into this 1 hour yet. So I was fairly confident that we could just draw towards it. It was a 1 to 1.29. So we tapped into the 15 minute unfilled, and I believe I took it off a 1 minute inversion. Oh my gosh. We took it off a 1 minute inversion. I broke even at the swing highs just because it's a Monday. Monday's price action, I believe it was a no news Monday too. We didn't have really a high impact, so I just wanted to stay safe in today's trade. So broke even right here, and then got stopped out for break even, and would have hit my stop loss anyway. So I did the right thing. After that, I just got off. I was just like, okay, cool. We'll wait for the next day. Next day rolls around. I believe it was another break even type of day. I believe we had a bunch of 1 hour untapped 15s. I was initially. Oh my gosh, if y'all heard like something in the back, just ignore that. It's annoying. But going into Tuesday's price action, we had this 1 hour untapped. We had 15s. We had a bunch of just, liquidity. We also took out this liquidity right here. I was, fairly confident in longs. So at this point, I'm just going to smaller time frame. Yeah, as you can see, this intermediate 15. So, yeah. Let me go to the 1 minute. Okay. So I believe during this trade, yeah. Okay. So during this trade, I believe there was we were holding obviously this 1 hour, all these like levels. We have this 15-minute backing it up. So at this point, I'm really looking for an inversion back up. So around right here, we have this 30-second inversion. This was pretty good. We had a 30-second inversion, and then I broke even at this this higher time frame fair value gap. And what happened? Yeah, I got stopped out for break even. At this point, I'm like, oh, okay, like I think we want to go. No, I ended up like messing up by like not sticking to my bias, which my bias was obviously clearly bullish. So at this point, I'm like, oh, we have this unfilled 5 minute. So like obviously these unfilled 5 minutes, they don't matter, if it's not aligning with your narrative and your bias. Like, so I ended up taking it off this 1 minute inversion. I got stopped out instantly. Wait. Yeah, I got stopped out instantly, and that was that. And trying to think. Hold on. Dude, this is annoying. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, I took that trade, and then I got stopped out, and I believe I was down on the day after that. So that's that. Pretty dumb. Should have honestly not traded against the bias and these higher time frame imbalances. I believe we also had a 4 hour. If not, we just had a 1 hour 15. All this other stuff, and I could have honestly just waited for another clean inversion back to the upside. Waited on this one. We tapped also 1 minute. Pretty good setup right there. Targeted some of these highs. But that was that. And yeah. So that was a loss, I believe. Yeah. So I was just trying, like, whenever I was like pausing, I was thinking like, which days did I take a loss? Because I thought I broke even that day, but no, this is a lost day, and I believe Friday was my lost day too, and the other two were break even. So we'll go over that right now. Yeah. Going into this day, I was pretty initially bullish because we had this 4 hour that we're on. Let me go to the 4 hour just to show ya. Jeez, come on. Wednesday, yes, we had this 4 hour that we're just, no, this 4 hour, my bad. Yes, we didn't close over, but on ES we did close over. So if it does it on one pair, it tends to just follow. So at that point, but before that, I took, I believe, a trade, an early trade. So let's see. Yes, we did have these. I think we had a 15-minute. No. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Wednesday. Okay, we had this 15-minute that we tapped to. I believe we had a 1 minute inversion, and I wanted to target just back to. I believe I was targeting this high right here. We had intermediate 15, I believe. I wanted to target the high, so it was just a quick 1-to-1 point. It was just a 1-to-1. I lost on it, and then I noticed that we were already on an unfilled 15. So I was just like, okay, so I really want to take a short. So I took a 1 minute short, just a quick 1-to-1. It was a small trade, just because the 9 a.m. candle hasn't solidified yet. So I'm gonna take a trade before I want to just be in and out and just take a really good setup. This was okay. it played out. So at this point, I was break even on the day. And then this day, we also had that 4 hour. But I kind of took a trade a little early. I'm not going to lie. I should have just waited. Even though this trade ended up break even, I should have just honestly waited. We had a unfilled 5 minute. I basically did the same thing. I needed to just... This trade would have been good if we actually, like, the candles closed, like, on a rejection, both on... What's going to call it? On ES and in Q. So it didn't do that. That was a technical mistake. I should have honestly just waited for that 9 a.m. candle. We also had news at 9, so I entered this trade a little early. We had this 5 minute unfilled. We had a 1 minute inverse, so I was targeting obviously these lows. As soon as we got to around like right here, tapping into this other fair value gap, I went break even. Boom, got stopped out for break even. That was that. So at this point, I was just like, man, I think I'm just gonna be done on the day. It's just nothing, honestly. Oh no, I wasn't done on the day. Sorry, I was thinking I'm tripping. So at this point, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting, because the next target is previous day's highs. So this is an obvious draw on liquidity. At this point, I'm waiting for a continuation play on the 5 minute. Nothing really gets tapped into, so we didn't end up taking any long. So at this point, we're waiting for this to get taken out and just maybe take a little quick rebalance play. It gets taken out. We have this, I believe we had a 2 minute inversion, and then we had a 1 minute tap right here. So I ended up entering, broke even at this swing low, got break even, and then never hit my target that I wanted to hit. So that was just a break even day. So that's all trading is. You gotta just realize when to go break even, so you can minimize losses and just take those really good setups and improve your win rate. But yeah, and then going into this day, I believe we had this. I was pretty bullish, all-time highs. We had this 4 hour, we had this intermediate 1 hour, I believe, and then unfilled 15. So this is the lowest I wanted to see price go. And honestly, since we're at a 4 hour, originally I was gonna break even right here, but honestly, I had a feeling we could just get wicked out and just hit TPs, because I'm pretty confident in this 4 hour. I think it's gonna play out. You know, we had this 1 minute, 2 minute inversion. I think 1 minute was the highest time frame, if I'm not mistaken. So at this point, I've been in this trade for a long time. So we have all this LR built up. At this point, I'm not confident in this trade, just because, you know, we've already taken out the swing low that I initially intended to break even. So, and we haven't had a clean move to the upside. So, you know, my break even was supposed to be this. I think it was the equilibrium point, and I was targeting around this level. I wasn't fully confident we could go back and trade to these levels, but so I broke even. I put my stop loss at break even as soon as I realized just we have all this LR built up, just easy like stops to get taken out. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna put it right here. And as soon as we broke out of this trend line liquidity, we just ended up, boom, we would have hit my stop loss. So really good, you know, risk management on that part. I know when to go break even, and just, you know, that's all that is. You know, sometimes we're gonna have like bad weeks like this with not the best price action, but you need to realize when there's bad price action and good price action. And when there is bad price action, you need to just revalue yourself and just know when to go break even and cut your losses short. So that's that. We ended up going even lower. I believe we hit an intermediate 15. So I'm still looking to take longs. So this 4 hours is still technically holding. You know, we ended up going higher later in the day. So I took it off of an inversion again. I believe the highest time frame was a 2 or 3. Might have been a 2. But took it off of that. We tapped. We entered. Or no, I didn't take it off the tap. I just entered. We ended up holding on this candle. So at this point, you're probably thinking, why didn't you just break in at the swing high? Honestly, I was waiting for this. We had an unfilled 5, so I was waiting for that to get tagged. I think on NQ, the big contracts, we actually did tag it. So that's that. I was just like, whatever. I'm just going to wait until it gets tagged on here. So got tagged, put it at break even. Would have gotten stopped out anyways. So that's what I'm saying. You know, even though it did end up playing out long term, we're looking for these shorter term plays, and sometimes with these stop losses, we could just get. I mean, some people like trade differently. Some people have bigger stop losses and bigger take profits, and just but that's not how we trade. I mean, sometimes we take some of those like longer trades, but this is just supposed to be a quick in and out type of trade, and that's not what we got. So that was Thursday. Friday, I believe it was. Yeah, that was my last losing day, which was yesterday. I didn't like it. Very annoyed. Going into the day, I was initially bullish just because of all-time highs. During pre-market, we tapped into this intermediate or this unfilled 15, and honestly, I shouldn't even just taken this. It was a pretty bad trade. I was just taking off the the continuation of the of all-time highs. I saw this inversion on the 2-minute, so I got in. I should have just broke even as soon as we took out this swing high, because honestly, going into this trade, if you're not really if you're feeling kind of iffy about it, it's probably not a good trade. And if you're gonna take it, then you need to have set rules. I got in just trying to make money and just trying to end off green on the week, and that was my mistake. So I entered it really fast, really not having a set plan. Not having all right, I'm gonna break even there, and then I'm gonna have I didn't have a break even set and plan. I didn't have a break even plan, set. So that was my mistake. I didn't, But this right here, by then I had burned through all my capital, so I wasn't planning a trade. But honestly, I was just it's really early. I didn't take another trade. I took a projection play. So at this point, we had this obviously this 4-hour that got inverted on the higher time frame. So I was pretty bearish. See, on the higher time frame, we are bearish. Actually, you can see we probably we're in equilibrium of this range, and we ended up dumping later during the day. But at this point, I'm looking for a rebalance, or not rebalance, or just continuation to the downside. I believe we had a 5-minute tap, and then took it off an inversion. I believe it was on a 1-minute. Or a 30-second. It was one of those. I believe it was a 30-second. So I took it off of that. I broke even, I believe, at the swing low. And then we got close to my take profit. Got stopped out for break even. And then I was just like, okay, I'm done on the day. It's all good. I broke even. Or no, I didn't break even. I lost on this. And then I broke even on this projection play. So I didn't actually trade the evaluation account. So as of right now, the account is sitting at around 49,800 and something. So I'm not down too much. I'm basically break even on the account. I'm not break even, I'm slightly down, but it's all good. Made a couple mistakes, did some things correctly, some things incorrectly. Yeah, there's a lot of things to reflect on, and just staying patient next week. I believe Monday we have a no news Monday, so I'm probably not gonna take a trade, but we'll see. If it's a really good setup, A+, I need to have all my rules set in place. So, need to have a break-even point. Just, not going to be a lot of volatility on Monday, but we'll see. But we'll catch you in next week's trade recap.